Alright, last time recording this because I'm really bad on camera and without a script, so hopefully this is the last time. This is actually the fourth recording of doing this, so hopefully it's the best one. But Q&A time. Thank you for watching, thank you if you are here, and thank you if you left any questions. We're finally doing this. It's been a long time coming, and I did not plan to wait this long to actually do it, so apologies about that. Before we do that, whenever I am on camera, I always want to take the opportunity to give a little update on what's currently happening with the channel, you know, give a face to the voice that you see here, telling you that there were no videos in May because coincidentally there wasn't a lot of interesting news in April, or better yet, there wasn't enough to make an actual normal episode of the new show for May. And what I'm planning on doing is getting a lot of the leftover news from April and combine it with May to upload a new episode this month. The other thing is I am still working on a big video. One of the other reasons why I didn't upload anything in May is just I've been really deep into it that I just forgot to work on, you know, filler to get out for May. Let's actually get to questions. Alright, first question is from Vendanta Sama. They actually left a couple of questions, which is pretty cool. The first one is, how's your day going? It's going pretty good, thank you for asking. I just watched Across the Spider-Verse yesterday, and it was fantastic. I really love that movie, and it put me in a great mood. There's nothing like watching a really good film that just, you know, has you hooked for the entirety of its runtime, and I really loved everything about it. And then aside from that, I'm working on the big video, and it's going great. Well, you know, still a mess, but I'm having a lot of fun doing that. And I am feeling good. The channel's growing. I'm very grateful to all the people here, and I've been feeling pretty good. You know, I was overwhelmed for a few weeks when the video was blowing up, but now I'm good. I'm good now, and I'm in pretty good mood and being creative. So thank you for asking. What videos are your favorites to make? Okay, this answer might be pretty lame, but I like any video that's really hard. I don't like easy videos because they're just not creatively satisfying to me. I like videos that always have a challenge, and every video pretty much has a different challenge that either makes me learn something new either about the show itself or the manga itself, or the actual like process of editing. You know, I usually learn something new with every video, and because of the hurdles that I have to get over, it actually makes the journey of getting to the video a lot more fun and a lot more memorable to me. It's one of the reasons I also don't do sequels that often to videos, is because once I've made it the first time, I already know how to make it, I already know the presentation, how to edit it and how to cut it, and I already know where all the footage is. It's a lot more boring. I have made a sequel before, but it wasn't nearly as fun as the original, which is one of my favorites. I'm referring to manga covers. Mainly because of how difficult it was. That video had so many problems, and because of that, because it came out and it turned out well, I'm very fond of it because I remember the entire process of everything being on fire. But any video that challenges me one way or the other, so all of the biggies usually are my favorites, because again, I always learn something new that I apply into the next video afterwards. But if you guys want something specific, if you are referring to a specific kind of video, I do like the big breakdowns, the big overviews of entire series or franchises, because it's fun to encapsulate all of my thoughts into one video and just have that there. It's also just gratifying to also have like videos that are good for newcomers that somebody can, you know, watch if they want to get into something, and it easily breaks everything down without spoiling anything. I really like doing that a lot. What other media do you enjoy, and what are your favorites in those media? Fave movies, books, etc. I am a big visual media lover. I love anything that, you know, has images attached to it, so I love movies, TV shows, video games, and in the case of my favorites in them, my favorite video games are definitely Sunset Overdrive, the Doom Eternal / 2016 like reboot but not really reboot, Darksiders 2, Portal 2, Limbo. Those are some of my favorite games of all time. Recently, Hi-Fi Rush. Fighting games, just the genre of fighting games are one of my favorite things ever. I love fighting games when it comes to movies and TV shows. I have been trying to watch more movies this year, like not animated ones, just so I can expand my taste in media. And favorite movies off the top of my head would be Spider-Man 2, Secret Life of Walter Mitty I really like. Oh, I love How to Train Your Dragon. I love the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. I liked it a lot as a kid, and I still very much like it as an adult. Spoiler, animation in general is my life, so I watch a lot of animated things, period. Not specific movies, but specific directors that I really like. David Fincher, I talked about this in the last Q&A. I love the music with Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I love Wes Anderson movies so much. I love how quirky, colorful, symmetrical they are. I like it when someone has a very clear style, and that's one of the reasons I love his work so much. So I watch a lot of cartoon shows. I love Bluey. Unironically, Bluey is freaking awesome. I love it so much. Oh yeah, Summer Camp Island is pretty great. Those two shows are great examples of like slice of life, but done by not Japanese creators, and it's both fantastic. Ghost of Molly McGee. I did also watch The Owl House, and I like that. Oh, and then, oh yeah, the really obvious one is Unicorn Warriors Eternal. That is an amazing show that I have loved every freaking frame of since episode 1. I love the great 1930s rubber hose era inspiration to the animation, into the designs, and then the steampunk like setting and art direction is really great. How it combines a lot of these old 1930s style all into one place. I love Gendy Tartakovsky, and I love it so much. That's currently one of my favorite shows that I'm watching. I can't get enough of it. I also did love Primal from him as well, but I really liked it so much more. Primal was incredible. Another one, how do you manage your YouTube schedule and how it affects your everyday life? I first off let the videos find me. Pretty much I'll just watch a bunch of random stuff, and then when I realize I have a lot of things to say, I realize, oh crap, I guess I have to make a video on it. It's how I balance it is pretty much that I use one half of the day to allow me to do other things unrelated to YouTube. I wake up and I use a good chunk of the day to do other things like watch TV shows, watch movies, play video games, you know, unrelated to the actual, you know, YouTube video. And then the other half of the day, usually at night, because I'm usually very creative at night, is spent on the actual creative process. Legitimately, like half of the day, if not like a third of the day, is used for non-YouTube things, while the rest of it is used for YouTube things. That could just be watching the show, taking notes, writing, and then eventually editing. I will say though, I do have a very bad habit that throws that balance off very easily, being that I get insane tunnel vision when I actually start getting like closer and closer to the actual process of the video being made. Basically, as I'm writing and the video starting to form, I then start getting the urge to just do the video even more because I am getting closer, and the more time I spent on it, the faster the video will be out. It's a really bad habit because then I just commit all of my time to just this one thing. So I stop watching other things, I stop doing other like activities, I just focus on the one anime or manga or whatever and make that my entire life. I will say though that when I do get to editing, that my entire life becomes editing. There is no balance there. I love editing so much that I can just do it all day, and I have done it all day. A lot of videos take many hours, like around 40 to 50 hours of editing a week, so that's like around 7 hours a day, but I don't mind it because I just love the process of editing so much, because it's when all of my ideas become visual and they become something you can see. So to simplify my answer, it's usually pretty balanced until we get to certain points where the entire video takes over my life, which still isn't healthy, and I'm still trying to figure out that balance. And lastly, more Toraru content when? I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I did imply I would make another video, and I still plan on doing it, but you might not like the answer, but I don't plan on doing it anytime soon, for a couple of reasons. First off, I didn't plan on making you wait that much longer for the second one. When I initially uploaded it, I was more thinking that it was going to be, hey, this video got uploaded in 2020, and I was going to take a nice, decent break from it because I didn't want to double dip to Brailledex after spending 3 months on it. The second one's going to be uploaded in 2021. The thing that happened, though, is I got a job, and it took up all of my time, so I didn't plan on making it wait to 2023. But then the other reason why it's not a priority for me right now is I've had other videos that have been longer in the pipeline than that video has been conceived. So they have probably been in the pipeline around the same amount of time as the original Raildex video. And I want to get those out first. I think you can understand why those are a priority for me, because they've been literally sitting in my back pocket for literal years, while the sequel to Raildex is a lot more recent. that is not a priority of mine because I've already talked about Rail decks in one video while I haven't talked about any of these other series at all. And that's why it's not something I'm rushing to get to right away. Will I make the video? Yes, I will, but I don't know when because I want to get other things out. My passion is taking me to other places that I want to focus on. And though they're all done, we'll probably get to the second Rail decks video. So sorry for that answer. I know that you probably didn't want to hear that, but I also want to kind of address something because I'm talking about it. This is one of the reasons why I don't like to tell people what videos I'm working on, because you don't know what's going to happen in life that will just make stuff not come out. I actually have a folder full of thumbnails, like legit several thumbnails of videos that just have not seen the light of day because of life. And if I told people I was working on a Zatch Bell video after Zom 100, they would have waited 9 months to actually see the Zatch Bell video. I'd rather let you guys not know it exists and then surprise you when it's out. That way you don't have like any built-up expectation or anything like that. All right, let's go with a couple of quicker questions because you had a lot. We have 2 from Anime Meme Daily. Will you be making a update video on your lost media videos or a sequel? Probably not. I have no interest in returning to it because those were made when I didn't know what the channel was gonna be. And now I know what it is a lot more, and they just don't really fit my style, and they just don't interest me at all in the sense of creativity. So I'm probably not ever gonna make a sequel to that, despite a lot of people asking. Sorry about that. And then we have another question being, will there be a new anime streaming service in the next 5 years? Probably not. In general, outside of anime, the streaming landscape has kind of peaked, and a lot of companies are realizing that they spent way too much money on packaging for it, on shows and movies for it, and now they're kind of withdrawing back that. You know, a lot of stuff is being pulled from the actual catalogs, and a lot of them are actually just being moved somewhere else. Some of them are combining with other streaming services. And this is not even just anime, this is just streaming in general. We're kind of hitting that plateau. And in the case of anime that's already happened. There were multiple streaming services that were competing with each other, and now we only have CR that encapsulates what used to be Funimation, Aniplex, Mad Men, Wakanim. It's all in one place now. You then have HiDive, and then you have Netflix. We're not really going to get a new streaming service because it would have to be a company making it themselves, and that's already a very hard environment to just try to exist in. Alright, time for my favorite question because of the lead-in. This is from Cuckoo88. Oh, I was kind of randomly recommended this community post, but hey, I like the Jianchi focus on it and in your profile picture. And I guess that makes me curious. What other Jianchi characters do you like, if any? And since Jianchis are from China, have you ever tried any Chinese media, Danhua, manhwa, etc., and or found Chinese media you enjoy, perhaps enough to make videos on them? But first off, are there any other Jianchi characters that I like? So I did have to Google search to be like, are there any I'm missing? Because there aren't really a lot of them. And we kind of peaked with Hsien-Ko. We peaked with her. She has the best design ever. No other Jianchi is gonna even come close to her, so I do also love Hsien-Ko from Jashin-chan. She's super funny, I love her design, and she kind of has that weird Hsien-Ko Mei Ling thing happening with herself and her sister, who's attached to her body, except it's the little panda on her chest that I really like. But she's great, she's really funny, she falls apart, she also gets super pissy and is very protective of her sister, so I love Hsien-Ko a lot. And then the actual really big deep cut is the ones from My Life as a Teenage Robot. I am not joking, those are some of my favorites because I love how they look in the art style of the show, but I also love how they're tiny and cute and they actually hop. They're like the only Jianchis I've ever seen in media that actually do the hopping part, because the other ones I love don't do it. But the ones from My Life as a Teenage Robot are definitely my favorites. But in general, there aren't a lot of them. Hsien-Ko is also the only Jianchi that I like that doesn't have blue skin. Next part, have you ever tried any Chinese media, Danhwa or manhwa? I did read a manhwa. I read Real Life. I actually watched the anime that it got an adaptation of, and then I loved it so much that I read the manhwa, and I did make a video on it. I actually did. It's an oldie, but it's a good one. It's one of my favorite series ever, legit in my top 5. But aside from that, there's a lot of other manhwas I want to read that I just haven't gotten to, and in general, it still is a new medium or version of the medium that I want to explore. So if you have any recommendations, Leave them below. I would love to, you know, I'm always down to read more manhwas because I really love the format of scrolling through the page rather than having it all on a page-by-page basis, you know? It's formatted for phones and computers, and I really like that a lot. The layouts are really interesting, and the art's really great. All right, next question is from a fan of justice. This is actually one I was expecting. Why Lele is your avatar? That's a valid question, and you're probably also wondering why she's on the left and right here. This is my Twitch layout, and it covers the mess that my room is. A couple of reasons. The first one is pretty simple, being that Lele is my favorite character ever. I love her so much. My first exposure to her was in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, or specifically Vanilla, but I remember going through the roster, and when I got to her, I could not stop thinking about it. I could not stop looking at the character, and it was just because I love her design so much. I love the colors of her outfit. I love the blue on the cheeks. I love the actual thing of her long sleeves, but then these giant like claws or giant heavy weapons coming out of them. It wasn't even that it blew my mind, it just was the coolest thing ever. I love her fun, bubbly personality, but then there's this really cool thing where, unlike a lot of the other Darkstalker characters that are meant to be very sexy, she's showing a lot less, and it makes her look cute. She's still also very sexy. There's a lot of layers to her. I can gush about her forever. Legit, she is my favorite character ever, like just from a design standpoint, but I also just love her lore, and I love her personality, and I love everything about her. The talisman covering one of her eyes is like one of the best things ever. It's so good. I love her a lot. That when my friend, very good friend of the show, Pirate Yukai Sammy, was opening up comms a few years ago, I just was like, hey yo, can I comm you to draw Hsien-Ko? And she was like, yeah, sure. And she drew it in her art style that I very much love. And I loved it so much that I decided to just make it my profile picture on everything. The other reason why I made it my profile picture is because it's all a ploy to just get so heavily associated with the character that when people see her, they just think of me, and they just at me on Twitter whenever they see art of her. I am unironically a huge Hsien-Ko fan, probably one of the least favorite Darkstalker characters when it comes to the girls, and it makes me very sad, so I've committed to just buying everything that has Hsien-Ko ever. I have the Capcom Fighting collection that has like Hsien-Ko right here, drawn by Bengus, who's one of my favorite artists. I love him so much. Which in general, it's great art. I like collecting physical media. I also have this little nice, like legit when I enter the room, I have this little art of her done by Pochan, who I love. I love his art so much. It's great. If I unlock my phone, I then have like more Pochan Hsien-Ko, which is great. Hoodie that I bought that's official of Hsien-Ko and Mei Ling. And then on the side of it, it actually has like the freaking the characters of like the talisman. I then have this shirt that I bought, and it has both of the girls on it, and I love it. It's my favorite shirt ever for very obvious reasons. And then lastly, the last Hsien-Ko thing I have my notebook for all of my video notes. And on the top, you can see her right here. Right here. If the camera can focus. It won't focus. But whatever, that's her right there. This is where I read all my notes, and there's Hsien-Ko above a Layla from Thatchbell, because I love Layla a lot, next to an Eiko from Project Eiko, and then there's just a bunch of art from a lot of other artists that I like. Am I the biggest Hsien-Ko fan? Probably not. There's probably bigger ones on the internet, but I'm very committed to her, and I love her a lot, because she doesn't get a lot of love, and pretty much I said if Capcom isn't going to use her, I frickin' will. Last question comes from Creepy Cosmonaut on Twitter. What was your first big kid anime you got into? Something that didn't air on TV and you had to actively go find online. The answer would be Toradora. That would be it, because if we go back in time to 2011, 2012, my cousin was visiting from Peru. She was like, do you know what Toradora is? And I was like, no. And she's like, you're watching Toradora. And then that's legit what the week was. And that was the show that kind of made me get what anime is, because it was not actiony, it wasn't weird, it was just a very grounded character story that wrapped up in 24 episodes, and that really blew my mind. The other stuff she made me watch was also Ouran High School Host Club, and then Inuyasha, which while that did air on TV, I didn't watch it as it aired. But that is it for all of the questions. Thank you for asking, thank you for leaving them, and hopefully your questions have been answered well. I hope. I'm not good at doing this ever, but if you have any more questions, leave them below, and I'll just talk to you guys there, or Twitter, Enzo is tired, Twitch, Enzo is tired. But sadly, the video must come to an end. Again, I really appreciate all the questions, but I gotta get back to writing and trying to get this big video out and get a bunch of other smaller ones out. So bye guys, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.